Okay, I'm going to show you what you need to do with expanding expanding logs on your assignment that have more than one step. So they have a couple operations that you need to really pay attention to and properties you need to apply. So on the screen you can see you're going to have to show me a couple steps in your process. So that's what the answer would look like for number 1. So I'm going to go back and do that with you. So make sure that you have 2.2b up on your iPads, and let's go ahead and take a look at that fresh. So in this case, we do have a power to a power. So if you look, we've got that 5. So it's on the outside, that's a power, and then on the inside of the parentheses, we have the power of 4, and then we also have the V has a power of 1. So we have to take care of both of those exponents, and we have to apply the rules for exponents, which is why we covered those. So a power to a power means that we multiply. So that 5 is touching the parentheses, and we have to distribute that 5 or multiply it by the 4 and multiply it by the 1. So that's our first step, and the answer to that multiplication is what we're going to show. So when we multiply that, we have log of 9, and then in parentheses, our u at the top is now raised to the power of 20, because 5 times 4 is 20. And then our v on the bottom, 5 times 1 is 5, so it's v to the 5th. So that's the first step I want to see on your paper, is you applying the first property, and in this case, power to a power. Now, the next thing that we have is the division, right? And the division property says that we subtract. So now we're going to expand out our log showing that subtraction. I mean, if you really want to be lazy, you know you have to use that log 9 twice. So you could circle it with your scissors, and then you could copy it, and then you could come down and you could tap and paste it, and then tap over a little bit more and paste it again. And now you have that log repeated, because you know you have to write it twice anyway. So our next step is to take care of the subtraction. So we have the u to the 20 at the top that we need to bring down. So I'm going to put that right next to my first log 9. I'm going to separate it with subtract, and then I'm going to bring down my v5. Now our last step, and you can look at the board for this as well, is to rewrite this, because I still have powers with those two variables, right? So I have the power of 20 and the power of 5. So with our logs, power to power, we multiply. So we're going to move those two into positions that show that we're multiplying. Well, again, if you kind of want to be, kind of lazy, you can grab your scissors. You need to rewrite this whole thing, so you can circle it, copy it, tap, and paste it. And now I can just move the 20 and the 5 into their right places. So I can even grab my scissors, again, circle the 20, circle it, and then just move it over to the front. And I can circle the 5, make sure I don't touch anything else, and I can actually move that into position if I leave enough. And if you do that, I would be totally fine with you just kind of wedging stuff in. Now don't put things over top of it. If you need to make more space, you could always move this log over so that everything fits. All right. So I want to see the steps that you used for solving these equations, for expanding them. So that's our first example. So you can pause this for a second, make sure yours matches mine, go back and review what we did, and then we'll do number 2. All right, if we look at number 2, we see 2 operations. First, I have the division, which will mean subtract. And then I also have these exponents. So the first thing that I'm going to do, now that I don't have a power to a power, I don't have to distribute anything, is I can just break these into two separate pieces for subtract. So we're just going to rewrite this. Log of 5, x to the second, minus log 5, y to the third. Okay, so I took care of my subtract, but I still have exponents. I still have powers, and we need to show that they're actually, when we have powers and logs, we multiply. So we're going to move those into their position. So again, I still have this 2, and I still have the 3. So again, I can just grab my scissors, I can copy it, I can paste it below, tap again, paste, and there's my logs, and then I just need to take care of my exponents. I can grab my scissors, circle those, try not to touch anything else, because if you notice I touched the part of the x, so I'm going to just drop that back in, and I'm going to try to circle it again so that I just touch the 2. Let's undo that. Okay, so I'm just going to, all right. So again, we're going to grab the 2. I don't know why it has a hard time, but we're going to pull that out front. And then we are going to, if we need a little more room, we can grab the whole log, scooch it over, and then circle the 3 till we get it highlighted and move that into place. And then that's it. So I do want to see your work. I don't feel bad because you can use the scissors to kind of move things around, but I do need to see some of your steps. You can't just give me an answer. Let's look at number 4 and go over when we have to distribute and we have multiplication. So we're going to look first always and identify our operations that we have. So I know I have multiply, and when I multiply I add, so I can kind of show that. And then I do have this exponent, this power. So I have to apply my rules for exponents first. Power to a power, we multiply. So I'm going to have to distribute and multiply that 2 to the 4. And then that b also has a 1. So I'm going to also have to multiply that 2 times the 1. So that's actually the first step that we're going to do. So we're going to distribute that 2 and then show with our new exponents. So we have log of 5, and then a times, or a to the 4th, I'm going to take that 2 and I'm going to multiply it by the 4, and so I have a to the 8th. So a to the 8th. And still multiply, so I'm going to go ahead and write the dot in there, and then I'm going to distribute the 2 to the 1 by the b. So then I have b to the 2nd. I'll pause for a second while you write that down. So I've distributed or taken care of the power first, and now I can go back and start to expand it. Again, that multiply is add. So I'm going to rewrite where I can take my scissors and circle log 5. Copy it, and I know I'm going to expand that twice for the a and the b, so I'm going to tap and paste it once and then leave a little room and tap and paste it again. I know it's going to be separated with addition, so really if I wanted to I could come down and put a plus there. And then I'm going to move first my a to the 8th and write that. Use a different color. So a to the 8th, and then I'll move the b to the 2nd. So b to the 2nd. And I'm not quite done yet, because now I still have those powers that are part of the log to take care of. So power to a power, I multiply. So I just need to take that and shift it, shift it out front. So I can grab my scissors again, and wait till it's highlighted, and then bring that out front and grab my scissors again for the 2 is still to the 2nd power. I can circle that and bring it out front. And then that's my final answer. I've expanded that log, taking care and applying all the properties. So I've given you a couple examples. Always remember to see you have to take care of the power to the power first. So if we look at number 5, we're going to have to distribute that to both those numbers, and then work on expanding it. But you have a couple to look at that are examples on your paper now. So let's look at, that was expanding logs. Let's look at condensing logs. So we're going to go down to number 15, and we'll talk about that next.